Delany was publishing a newspaper in Pittsburgh called The Mystery, founded in 1843. In December of 1847, Delany writes in The Mystery that the mystery is no longer going to be, that the mystery will now become the North Star as Delany is joining forces with the world-renowned and famous Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass has now transitioned. He's moved to another camp, a camp that is associated politically at that time with the Liberty Party. And he's separating from Garrison. Garrison does not like this separation, but in this separation, Douglass now is a part of a group of African Americans who believe that political action is necessary and that in league with the Constitution, they can end the tyranny of slavery. Garrison is very critical of Douglass for this separation, and Douglass comes out in the North Star and declares very clearly what he is up to. And he says that when you look at the goals that are so clearly stated in the preamble of the Constitution, that the Constitution can be used to abolish slavery as an anti-slavery document. And he said, so my decision is being made based on the fact that I see that the Constitution can be used as an anti-slavery document. And so now Douglass is in the camp of men like William Howard Day, Martin Delany, Henry Highland Garnett. He has now joined that camp. And in the North Star, Douglass is very aggressive in recruiting Americans of European descent to the anti-slavery movement. Indeed, you can clearly see that this is one of his duties, is to convince people to join the anti-slavery movement. He is, in many ways, the quintessential public relations officer for an organization that seeks to abolish slavery. His writings are very critical of anyone who supports slavery, and they're very logical, and he is an orator that attracts a number of people. Some of his more famous speeches that are often quoted and sometimes misquoted are those that deal with the founding of the country and how African Americans view it. And one is the what does the 4th of July mean to the slaves? Now, some modern scholars have changed that to what does the 4th of July mean to the Negro or the blacks? But that's not the way Douglass phrased it in the speech. It was what it meant to the slaves. And he argued that the 4th of July was probably the day where the enslaved was the day that the enslaved appreciated the hypocrisy of the country. Why? It's because we're celebrating independence and the Declaration of Independence that says that all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. And the people who have to deal with the fact that their right to liberty isn't recognized, the 4th of July is a reminder of that. And so that's what the 4th of July meant to the slaves. Now, I want to point out again that he said that's what it meant to the slaves. We have this tendency to group all African Americans as slaves, and that's not true. There were many free persons, like Douglass at that time. Indeed, Douglass had actually had his freedom purchased by that time. In the decade before the Civil War, Douglass is very active in the conventions of the American Society of Free Persons of Color. This organization is the organization that is really promoting the agenda of African Americans going into the Civil War. And there is a forecast of a civil war that Douglass is very aware of. Within this organization, they believe a civil war is coming. And so they began to prepare for a civil war. And the vigilant committees were a part of that, where they're training militarily. And Douglass never gets any military training. There's no evidence of him getting any military training, though he supports it. And his sons get military training in these private militias. Douglass himself is focused on the media. He is the public relations guy for this movement. And they make it very clear that they're going to work in league with the Constitution. In the convention in Philadelphia in 1855, they lay out their whole entire program and the argument that they're going to make that the enslaved are persons, not property. And that as persons, Congress is obligated to abolish slavery. And so this is Douglass's stand as we come to the Civil War.